I gotta reload this. Something went wrong with the YouTube chat for some reason. Also, the description is not showing up. So that's a thing. Don't know why that is, but okay. Oh, you know what? I'm logged into the wrong account. That's why. That's why I wouldn't, nothing would show up. Bear with me while I figure that out. There we go. Copy. Let me refresh this because the chat's not coming up for some reason. All right. We're also live on multiple platforms. So people on X, on Kick, on Twitch. Thank you guys for watching. I appreciate you guys a lot. Let me put in the chat. Let me see if I can add this. I don't know if it'll give me. Yeah, there we go. Can I pin it? I don't think it'll allow me to pin anything, but I put it in the chat there. Let me go back and put it in the comment section. I haven't been on Kick in a long time, and obviously it shows. It's not letting me log in. See if I can log in with my email. Just give me a second. Let me deal with everything. There we go. That's pinned over there. We're also live on. There we go. That's pinned over there. Yep. We're also live on. Give me a second. Pinned over there. How the heck? Yeah, I was gonna say we're also live on Twitch. Yeah, I was gonna say we're also live. Come on, man. There we go. No. Okay, it was Kick that was echoing. All right, guys. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell for more of these videos. Also, if you guys want to subscribe or whatever you do on other platforms, I appreciate you guys for doing that. I guess I didn't have Streamlabs Ultra, so I guess that's the whole reason why I wasn't able to um, do that to where I have multi-stream and whatnot. But for multi-streaming, I couldn't involve TikTok in this. I wanted to, but I couldn't. It wouldn't let me merge it, so we're gonna deal with what we got. We're gonna be live here for about an hour. Not really crazy long, just until the kids get up and I have to take them to school and everything. But I appreciate you guys for being here. Hit that like button, that subscribe button. Let's see what people are saying. Good morning from Lakeland, Florida. Thank you for watching, Kevin. I appreciate it. Nick Brown says good morning. Billy, when is it going to reach trillions? That's a good question. Honestly, I'm not really looking at it for when it's going to hit or reach trillions of dollars. Um, I'm I'm just looking at the different prices that it's hitting. And honestly, I believe that it's going to hit to those levels. The reason why is because of all the things that are going to develop over time. So the when depends on all the other things that also happen, right? Um, if we don't see, a full implementation within banks, or we don't see any type of major partnerships or an ETF as well as more all-encompassing ETFs, right? It depends on those timelines on when we're going to see these things happen, but over time we're going to see that worth multiple trillions of dollars, not just 1 trillion or 2 trillion or 5 trillion. I think it's going to be 10 to 20 to honestly see it worth a lot more than where it stands here today, depending on the different things that do happen behind the scenes and in front of our faces. So that's a good question. I have no expectation or timeline on it. The only expectation is on the understanding that it's going to hit multiple trillions. I said that it would be worth over $100 billion market cap. Some people denied that. They said, no, it'll never be worth that. It's dead. It's just not, it's not a play that anybody's going to, take up as an investment. It's not going to be something that somebody uses or anybody uses. It's not going to be in the major conversations, but it has been all of those things, right? We've seen it hit over $100 billion. We've seen it hit over $200 billion. And now it hovers well over $100 billion market cap. And it won't only just go to those levels. It'll be worth 300 billion and 500 billion and $1 trillion and multiple trillions of dollars. And in my opinion, it will be the number one cryptocurrency. However, it really all depends on the strength of Bitcoin. And the support of Bitcoin as well. Good morning, Billy. Do you think the FOMC rate cut has already been priced into recent movements? So no, I don't think so. I think when we look at positivity, something that's positive like that, I don't necessarily think that those things are always priced in. I know how we've seen that where people are like, for XRP in general, right? Or just looking at that, people talk about the fact that the lawsuit being won was priced in, and while that is true to an extent, it's not the whole truth, right? When you see pieces like that, pieces of the puzzle that are put into place, it doesn't mean that your mindset is now stuck on like, oh, I finished this puzzle. No, there's still pieces that need to be laid out. There's still pieces that need to be added. And when all of those pieces are added together and it paints that full picture or shows that full picture, that's when you'll see the FOMO attached to it. Not just what's happening and the reaction of what that's happening, but the FOMO of the whole thing, the whole picture coming together. Does that make sense? So no, I don't think it's fully priced in. I think you have some expectations of people that are maybe like a quarter or halfway priced in, but I think you still have the major bigger picture item that's kind of the unknown of what's going to come out of that positive news. Does that make sense? Now, if it is a time period to where the market is down, it can look like any type of positivity that we've seen was already priced in. Thank you for being a subscriber. I believe that's on Twitch. I appreciate it. So yeah, it was apparently that's the way that you look at it, where a lot of people believe that, all of this is priced in. But I don't necessarily think that. Right? I think there's more to it. We got 54 people here, guys. Hit that like button. I would like to get to about 25 likes, something like that. Half the concurrent viewers is always great. But then as we grow, continue to see that like button and press it. If you haven't hit the like button, I would greatly appreciate it. Before we get into anything else and any more comments, guys, if you want to check out my link in the chat for BTCC, which is a platform, you can get a 10% deposit bonus. It's a crypto platform. You can get a 10% deposit bonus if you use my link. extra bonuses up to $10,055, 40% lower trading fees, as well as trade up to a 500x leverage. Now, I never recommend that. Try to trade, a 2x leverage to 10x leverage, something that gives you a little bit of wiggle room, but you can go ahead and do that if you guys are interested. Also, if you don't have any history of leverage trading, you can demo trade over here as well, and practice your trading rather than use real money. You can have $100,000 of fake money, trade in the real markets, and practice your strategies. Also, they're doing a giveaway which ends today. So if you want to be a part of this giveaway, make sure you guys sign up, deposit, and trade by the end of the day so that you can enter for winning a free 500 USDT. Honestly, you can deposit or sign up. You can deposit $50 or so. Trade some of that $50 at a 2x leverage, and maybe you'll have a super positive trade out of it, especially since things haven't been looking really, really great for the market for the past day. And then have a potential chance to win 500 USDT split between 3 winners. So it's good chances. There's not many people that have done everything. There have been a decent amount of people that have signed up, but not a lot of people that have signed up, deposited, or traded between this time frame of September 2nd to September 16th. So make sure you get your name in the hat. That's what I'll say. Also, you can get an extra $100 USDT in coupons issued the next business day. So they're giving you a lot of stuff for signing up for this platform. And it is a good platform. I've been using it for a year now, and I'm insanely positive on my trades. But yeah, feel free to check that out. I can go ahead and look at some of these trades. Here's some of the trades that I currently own. Like, this is showing my BTCC account here. If I scroll down here, I do have some that are down that I made recently. API 3 is down by 47% or $161. LTC is down by 7%. VET is down by 9%. Quant is down by 9%. Algo is down by 3%. However, HBAR is up by 0.5%. OKB is up by 309% or $1,791. Lunic is up by 13%, $35. ADA is up by $430 or 42%. 39% down for auction, 22% down for compound, 300% up for Caspa, 800% up for AVAX, and then 5% up for Jasmy Coin. So feel free to check it out. It's a good platform. It may be confusing if you've never done leverage trading, but it honestly is a great way to grow your account. I grew this from, right now it's at a balance of 5,100. I grew this from a $500 account to a $5,000 account. So you can do it. You don't have to get super aggressive, and you could do 2x leverages, 5x leverages, maybe some 10x leverages here and there. So anyways, check it out. Link is in the chat and in the description. Same old broken record. Hey, look, it takes time. This is what investing is about, and a lot of people don't understand that. Investing is about patience. Having patience means that you can gain the most out of these investments, these plays that you're making. What does Warren Buffett say? Obviously, he doesn't like cryptocurrency, but there's truth to some of his investment styles, right? Where time in the market beats timing the market. So trying to say, oh, XRP is running, let me be a part of that. Oh, now Jasmy Coin's running, let me be a part of that. CRO's running, let me be a part of that. Solana, whatever. You trying to chase each position and trying to time the market at the best possible spot for those positions, even though there's no indication as to why you're seeing that run over that run over that run, or the news that you could see beforehand. Sorry. When you look at all that stuff and you say timing the market works for you, it doesn't. time in the market works 100%, right? If you are investing for the long term into plays that have long term, long standing utility, then you will make a ton in the end. Patience uh, will be the best thing for you. I've been able to utilize that patience in the stock market, in the crypto market. And yes, you had to have a ton of patience, especially in altcoins, because Bitcoin was running from the level of that 16, 17 $1,000 mark, and then consistently increased over time. While it didn't look like things were the most positive, Bitcoin was moving in more of an, you know, it looked like it was increasing over time, right? And it was, right? But then altcoins were staying flat. And yes, we did see a couple of altcoins that have run a little bit. When you talk about BNB, you talk about Solana, you talk about Ethereum that are making a little bit of moves and getting up to all-time highs and surpassing all-time highs. But then you have others that have yet to have that full breakout, like an ADA or like an AVAX. Chainlink has looked pretty good, but there's some others that haven't, a lot of others that haven't seen that major movement, and it's altcoins, right? so so yeah. Um, Lakeland, hi neighbor. I'm in Polk City. Just keep buying as much as you can, but eventually I believe it will go back down again. Um, well, you're talking about like different cycles and entering the bear market rather than being in the bull market. Eventually, we will see a bear market. It's just the question is how strong will that bear market be? With everything that's going on, everything that's transpiring, the ETFs, the conversation within government, the institutions that are holding, whether it's financial institutions or you're talking about just businesses, big businesses that are holding larger cryptocurrencies in their possession, whether it's a Bitcoin, Ethereum, or XRP. They're holding those in their possession on their balance sheet. I feel like you're seeing a different time than what we've seen in the past. You're seeing more and more people that are going from cryptocurrency as a scam or cryptocurrency is going to lose you money or anything like that to now being like, well, maybe it is something that's worth a lot more. Maybe I could use it for this. Or some people that I know that I would think would never get into cryptocurrency. They're telling me how they bought things on different websites with crypto and how they have this wallet and this account. And I'm like, you didn't know anything about cryptocurrency, and now all of a sudden, you're utilizing it for spending or buying things. You're going to Coinstar and transferring your money or whatever your coins are, not into your bank account, but into crypto balance. Like, that's the type of stuff that I'm just like, wow, we've come a long way. Just soon zero. I don't think so. Do you think crypto cycles are dead? So I don't think they're dead just yet. I think you will always have cycles, especially as Bitcoin continues to have halvings. Like you're going to have cycles. It's just how strong will those cycles be? Um, I feel as though when you get to a certain point where you have all-encompassing ETFs, right? Where you have ETFs that are including Bitcoin, Ethereum, BNB, Solana, all of the top cryptocurrencies, top 25, top 50, top 100 that you're looking at there, or just focus on a certain sector. But once you have those ones that are kind of tracking the entire market and people are investing for the long term in those, you're going to have less people that are pulling out for the short term and more people that are holding for the long term, right? And that's what's going to be very, very beneficial for the crypto market and seeing kind of the cycles dissipate. Now, I don't think that they will completely fall off. I think you'll have cycles, bull markets, bear markets that are less impactful, especially once you hit a level of trillions of dollars, multiple trillions of dollars in a market cap overall. You're talking about 10 trillion, 20 trillion. Now you're going to need something that truly can stabilize that market, which means all encompassing ETFs can do that, right? Something like an S&P 500, something like a Dow Jones, something that stabilizes, that allows people to invest long term and changes their mindset. However, it doesn't give you the same level of gains that you would get in the beginning. So anybody investing in these early stages before that happens is going to come out on top in the end, because you're going to have a lot of cryptocurrency. And as long as you do hold it and you believe in it and you have patience, you will be one of the wealthiest people, not one of the wealthiest people, because there are a lot of wealthy people now in crypto, but you will be a wealthy person. You will make a lot of money from cryptocurrency, and a lot of your wealth will come from cryptocurrency, just like they did with the internet, just like they did with, credit card companies and and all of that stuff, right? Um, which can be tied to banks and everything there. But the point is, you have certain sectors that people will not believe in for a long, long time. And you'll have some believers. And those believers will be super wealthy and come out millionaires because they believed in a sector that others did not believe in. Not saying that you should always believe everything everyone tells you, but if you do enough research into a sector and understand that it's the future, right? The internet is the future. Credit cards are the future. Big banks and the flow of that are the future, right? You you look at that the same way, you can see major success as long as you are patient. Good morning, Matt. Good morning, Brandon White. Thank you for being here. If it was priced in, we would have seen a new all-time high. True. It depends where the market is. So, with the things that happen, again, you have to see multiple pieces. So when you have major news, right? You also want to see that money is being invested into the crypto market to begin with before you see any of that news that happens, right? If you see no money flowing into the markets, you're not going to see those new all-time highs. Your Epic Chain video is very informative. Do your own research, of course, but the amount of tokens are currently being XRP's only token makes it pretty interesting. Yes, I thought that was very, very interesting. As I was going through it, I've heard a lot about Epic Chain. People have brought it up to me, not only in the comment section, but also on other platforms. I've seen people mention it on YouTube with YouTube videos. I've seen people mention it in comments. I've seen people mention it in live streams. I've seen people mention in on TikTok. I've seen people talk about it as we mention other projects, and I think it definitely has some huge potential. That's the word I was looking for. For some reason, I drew a blank in what word I was looking for. There's some huge potential within it, especially being at a low market cap. It's something that I look at and I'm like, I want to be a part of those, things that are a $10 million market cap, a $30 million market cap, something like that, right? That can potentially grow to a 100, 200, $1 billion market cap, because now you're a part of something a lot bigger. You're not only a part of a thing that can grow by, 2 times, like we're talking about 5, 10 times, 100 times. Yes, I did hit the like button. Thank you for doing that. Good morning, Matt. Do you mean trillions in market cap, or are you referring to the price of each coin? No, I'm not referring to the price of each coin. I'm talking about trillions in market cap. I think it should be worth multiple trillions. I think people tend to look at things and what they can see. If it's never done it before, they don't believe that it can happen. So when I say it can get to trillions, people are thinking that I'm saying that right now it's going to be worth exactly what Bitcoin is worth. No, I'm saying in the future, as we see, even Bitcoin grow, as we see different things happen with XRP, we're going to see trillions. We're going to see 1 trillion, 2 trillion, $5 trillion worth of value for XRP alone. And again, people only see what's in front of their face. So if it has no history of being worth trillions, they're going to think it can never happen. But they said the same thing for it being worth more than where it was before. The highest point before where we are, or where we were at the 200, I think it was 203 something, $1 trillion market cap, or sorry, $1 billion market cap. Before we were at that level, the highest point was $130 billion. And the thought of it getting to a $200 billion market cap, people were like, no, it's never going to happen. It's never been there. It's not going to happen. And I'm just like, you got to open your eyes a little bit. Think outside the box just a little bit. Understand that just because it hasn't hit there doesn't mean that it's not going to hit there in the future. Right? $100 billion market cap, just because it sits at a $30 billion market cap for a long period of time, doesn't mean that it can't get to a $100 billion market cap again. Right? Obviously, things have to be in place for it to to make it worth that, or make people want to buy it at those levels. But obviously it is, right? It got to a $100 billion market cap, got to a 150, a $200 billion market cap, currently sits at, I think, a 181, $181 billion market cap. So, I mean, that's what I'm referring to. I think you should do an update video on how to leverage trade. Yeah, I mean, I definitely should. I think it's not a one size fits all on the strategy of leverage trading. This is why you should take your time in trying to understand your strategy. You know, when I go into here, when I first went into BTCC, I saw this. Yes, I did deposit money right away, and I wanted to see how it worked. But also, I knew about leverage trading. The issue that I did have with this was that I didn't really know how to fully use the platform, because the platform is a little bit different. Everything's in different spots than any other platform that I've used. So I would say just go up to here, find your demo trading icon, and then switch to demo trading, because now you're going to be able to trade a couple of trades, make a couple of moves, not necessarily for and this is the demo trading, a couple of trades that I made, and I would have been up $6,000 on this trade alone with a $1,000 investment into Ethereum at this low price, right? Auction, on the other hand, not really doing so well. It's down about 53% for that 4x leverage. But the point is, it gives me the ability to learn how to leverage trade on this platform. But yeah, I think I have a couple of videos over on Patreon about leverage trading, how to leverage trade, how to make a trade. I want to go through the mindset of leverage trading. I think that's the most important piece. But we'll have to do that at a later time period. So let me switch back to live trading. But there's not a one size fits all in leverage trading. You have to learn what works for you, and what works for me is what I'm currently doing. Why would anybody use XRP versus creating their own private coin on the Ripple network? Why would anybody utilize XRP? Why would anybody use anything that's proven to work, that's proven to have success, that's proven to be reliable and secure, and everything that you wanted to be in a coin, rather than taking the time to create your own coin? Why would anybody want to utilize something that has a history of working, instead of creating something that they don't know if it fully will work or be sustainable? Right? I guess it kind of speaks for itself. Why would you buy this food that was packaged by a grocery store, this chicken that was packaged by a grocery store, over packing the chicken yourself? Why would you decide to do that? Right? you have something that's proven, something that's safe, something that you know for sure it has a higher chance to not be infected with anything or not end up killing you. I would say that you go with something that has a proven track record. That's probably why. But it's creating your own coin or what's it called? What is it called? Jesus, I can't even think of what it is. Where you tokenizing your assets is always a key benefit in what you could do for the future. Obviously, it would have to be um, I was going to say it would have to be something that you can see the value being sustained, but tokenizing your assets is always great. You can tokenize your assets with current assets, reliable assets. Um, Peppercoin more fees. Do you think just because it has more fees doesn't mean it's more expensive? Do you think Ty will do well? I haven't looked at it. Good morning, Matthew from an Englishman working in Madrid, Spain. Thank you for your informative videos. Well, I appreciate that, Marcus. Thank you for saying that. No, I would rather lose everything rather than be cheated or fooled into releasing my holdings. Imagine how many Bitcoin super early failed. Patience will prevail. God bless. I agree with you. I 100% agree with you. People, as you are succeeding, people will tell you all the time sell, sell, sell. I don't trust what's happening here. If they don't know what's going on, why should you trust somebody that doesn't know what's going on? They only tell you what they know, which is the history from their trading experience in the stock market or, from their 401k or something. Just because someone has a history of making money somewhere else doesn't mean that they are fluent everywhere. Doesn't mean that they know everything. I have people all the time that were telling me in the beginning stages, they were like, "Oh, you're up, 20%. That's amazing. That's more than what I'm up in the stock market, right?" And and I was like, "Yeah, that's great." And then they were like, "Well, maybe you should take that and put it into the stock market now into a place that's, reliable and you understand that a little bit more because you have the history." And I'm like, "Well, just because it, has the history doesn't mean that, just because this doesn't have the history doesn't mean that it's not going to succeed in the end. Doesn't mean that it's not going to be worth anything." And I think that conversation or those conversations, the only thing that those conversations really did for me was more or less focus on the utility projects, the things that you believe are going to go the farthest because of what they're doing and what they could potentially do for the economy, right? That's the only thing that really changed within those conversations, is to look at things that have a long-term, long-standing growth potential versus the ones that are meme coins that are in it for just to gain something, right? If you're invested into primarily a Shiba Inu coin or a bank or something that has no real life utility or probably won't have any real life utility, um, besides you being able to utilize it for any type of purchase that's out there. But if that's the case, you're probably going to be able to use any coin that's out there as well. So it's not just going to be that specifically. Um, if you are invested into those things, not saying that you're not going to make money from it, that's its primary focus is to make money. I want to be invested in the things that's not the primary focus is for people to make money. It's has a secondary purpose of making money, but also being able to be utilized in the end by big businesses, by financial institutions, by the government, creating reserves, country to country transactions, cross border payments, all of those things that, we feel like could impact current sectors and then implement a percentage of what crypto can take over in those sectors, you know? So I'm not going to be fooled in doing that. Matt is the dam of crypto. He just keeps holding. I mean, I do hold a lot of positions, but there are positions that I have taken profit on, for sure. Especially the meme coin positions. Worldcoin thoughts. I can't say I'm the biggest fan of Worldcoin. I feel like Worldcoin, I like the concept. I don't like the supply. I believe the supply of Worldcoin um where's that? Hopefully there it is. Um, I believe the supply of Worldcoin is the problem for me. There's currently only 20% of the supply that's out there. You know, have 2 billion of the total, 10 billion coin supply. And with a $3 billion market cap, that can have a major impact. If you look at the fully diluted value, you're looking at $15 billion. Now, can you see this at $15 billion? Most likely, right? You can see it at $15 billion. The issue, or I guess it would still be a $1.49 price, and it would be $15 billion with all the supply that's out there. Um, so can I see it at that level? For sure. But is it worth it to invest long term into something that potentially is only going to be worth the same amount? However, even with the 10 billion coins, let's say all of it was added out there, um, only if it was all added out there and still had the potential chance to get $200 billion or $200 billion, for sure I would be interested in it, but only if they would introduce all of the supply. Like, I like the concept, I don't like the dilution, because the dilution could happen at any moment. Let's say this does get to $100 billion market cap right now, right? That would be a $50 price point, right? However, they now decide that they're going to release all of the coins during that process of being worth $50 per coin. Well, now what you're holding is getting diluted and it's decreasing the price. I don't like that in the end, but it would still be worth more than it is now. So it all depends how high it's going to go to show how much it's going to be worth. So it's hit or miss, right? Because if it goes that high to $100 billion market cap, the difference, it's still massive, right? You're still looking at 10 billion coins at $100 billion market cap. That's still a $10 price compared to the $1.49 price that you are at. So you're still able to gain a lot throughout the deal. But it just, I hate the thought of being diluted, and then what if it doesn't get to that level of $100 billion? It only gets to a $25 billion mark. Well, now you're still at an increase to what you could gain in the end, because, $25 billion market cap with 10 billion coins in supply, you're looking at what, a $2.50 level or something. So you're still looking at an increase of $1, right? But there could have been so much more opportunity that's out there in other plays that have utility, that have no dilution in it. Does that make sense? I like it though. I like the concept of it. I never can get over those supply numbers. Guys, we have 90 people here. If you could hit the like button, hit that subscribe button, I would greatly appreciate it. I don't know how many people we got on X, but it looks like we have 82 views. So I appreciate anybody that is watching right now and anybody that has watched. For Kick, doesn't look like we have any viewers on Kick, but I do appreciate. It looks like we got somebody following on Kick, so somebody did watch. That was 29 minutes ago, so thank you for watching. For Twitch, we got a couple of people, or one person that's watching over there as well. But then 93 people on YouTube. So hit that like button if you could. And also, again, if you guys want to join this giveaway, feel free to sign up for BTCC. The link to sign up for BTCC is in the chat. It's also in the description. You can get a 10% deposit bonus, extra bonuses, as well as 40% lower trading fees. You can trade all the way up to a 500x leverage. No VPN, no KYC is required. The giveaway stands as this. If you sign up, deposit, and trade by the end of today, because this is when the giveaway ends, September 16th, by the end of today, you can potentially win 500 USDT. you're splitting 1,500 between three people, 500 USDT you could win. And just know there are not a lot of people that have signed up, deposited, and traded. So if you guys do that, you deposit $50, you deposit $50 and you trade. Thank you for following Silver 10x. If you sign up, deposit $50 or $25 and make a trade within this day, you have a chance to win 500 USDT. And also register to receive $100 USDT coupons in the next business day. So feel free to, check all this out. Link will be in the chat where you guys can sign up and enter or put your name in the hat for that giveaway. Just to let you know, I am utilizing the account myself. I've been using it for a year. I currently have $5,200 in a balance over there. I grew this from $500 to $5,000 in a matter of like 3 months or so when I started this challenge, at least. And I have a few things that are negative. I have a few things that are positive. I have some that are insanely positive by dollar amount and by percentage. 300% is phenomenal. 815% is phenomenal, right? So feel free to check that out. Link will be in the chat, also in the description. I also have links for other things if you guys want to check those out as well. Let's look at the entire market. I haven't looked at where the market is today. So the market cap for crypto is currently sitting at a $4.01 trillion market cap, according to CoinMarketCap. Fear and greed index is neutral. We're not seeing any type of major fear or any type of major greed today. Altcoin season is 71. Even though we're not seeing major movement in altcoins, we're still seeing it sit at 71. I think the last time I looked at it was at 72 and everything was running. So it's a little weird to see it that way, but they have some sort of algorithm that really breaks that down. But 71 by altcoin season, we're getting closer and closer to altcoin season happening. Bitcoin is sitting at 115. Ethereum's at the $4,500 mark. I think Ethereum should have already been at a, closing in on a $10,000 mark. It should have broken the all-time high, if not made a new all-time high, but it's whatever. XRP is at $3.03. It's up by about 2% on the day. $181 billion market cap. BNB has been not surprising, but surprising at the same time. Seeing that movement above $900, which I think the all-time high has been hit in the past couple of days. So September 14th was $944. So anybody that's holding BNB, including me, I have some BNB. I don't know how much I have. I might have like 5 or 10. Hopefully I have 10. I think I do have 10. But I had some over on MetaMask. I don't have that anymore. But I do have some in my Ledger wallet. Let me see really quick before I decide to dive into anything else. But it was great to see BNB make its moves that it did. So let me see all accounts. BNB chain 1. I guess maybe it's staked. Yeah, I don't know what's going on. I think I have it. Is it staked? I don't think you can stake it. I swear I have BNB over here. Yeah, I'm just missing that. I'll have to try and find it later. Because I know it's here. I just don't know where. But yeah, it's great to see BNB make moves. It's also great to see Solana make these moves up to a $127 billion market cap. The next closest thing to this, which I feel like you need more that fill in between, is Dogecoin, right? A meme coin / maybe not meme coin, where it's going to get an ETF for a meme coin that could potentially be utilized for things. So it might not be a meme coin. This might be the largest non-meme coin that we've seen ever in history. But I think Cardano gonna say Cardano. I don't know. Cardano should be worth a lot more. It should be up in the 80 to 90 billion dollar range at the moment, and honestly should be worth over 100, closing in on 200 billion dollars, maybe even a 250 billion dollar mark. Same thing goes for AVAX. I think it should be worth a lot more than 12 billion. Same thing goes for Kronos being worth about $7 or $8 billion. I think that should be worth a lot more. Litecoin definitely should be up there as well, and it will be. Um, but right now we're still seeing all the altcoin movement come from this one, two, three, four punch move, right? Ethereum having the major impacts market cap wise, XRP being next, and obviously Bitcoin, BNB and Solana making those aggressive moves that we've seen recently. 8% up for Solana in the last 7 days, 5% for BNB in the last 7 days. Yeah, so it looks like I have 10. I have 10 BNB in my possession that is currently staked at a 0.8% APY. I don't plan on doing anything with it, so I'm not really worried about it. My Solana, though, is also staked. I have 21, and that's at a 6.6%. I've gained 1.4 Solana throughout this process, which was $348. I only have $5,000 invested, so that was great to see, especially with the movement that we've seen in Solana. What else do I have staked? I have AVAX staked. I have 82 AVAX that is staked at a 5% APY. I'm able to gain 1.65 AVAX. Cosmos is at 7.66. I was able to gain 86. Atom, which is worth $384. And then Ethereum, I have about 5 that's staked at a 2.5%. And I've gained $245. So I'm happy with those stake percentages. I would like to be able to gain a little bit more. The latest data could not be retrieved on Ethereum, resulting in outdated data being displayed. The issue should be resolved in a few minutes. Okay, thank you. I appreciate that. But total rewards that I've gained off of the amount that I've staked is $712 out of the $44,000 that I have deposited. That's for staked amounts. But again, this is my forever balance. I don't plan on doing anything with these coins over here, whether we're talking about Kronos or XRP or whatever. I don't plan on doing anything with these. How much do I have in light? I think I have 100 Litecoin over here. Yeah, I have 100 Litecoin over here. I want to see that hit in the thousands, because as that hit in the does hit in the thousands, it'll be worth hundreds of thousands of dollars potentially. I think I was still going through the exchange or through Coin Market Cap. If we look at things that are up the most in the top 100, we're going to see Immutable. That's up by 12% or almost 13%. Avalanche or AVAX, that's up by 7%. Great to see that at a $30 price point again. Should be worth a lot more than that, but it's great to see it at a $30 price point. Let's see some other notable ones. XMR, you have Aerodome Finance, that's also up by 6%. Caspa is making 2.83% move. Tezos, I still feel like Tezos is undervalued. I still feel like there's a lot of value there for Tezos. I don't have it anymore. That's something that I shifted, and I don't know why. I should have just continued to build up, and I think I started to. It was like one of my early positions, or not. Well, yeah, it was one of my early positions, and I started to consolidate some of it to other areas that I felt like should be worth more. That makes sense, or have more opportunity, I guess. Which I don't typically do a lot, but that's one that I did. Well said. The fact that you never see sub $1 XRP again, ETFs will take XRP to double digits easily. I agree. um, and back up those and get played once in a lifetime opportunity closing within months, maybe. Do you think exchanges will continue to carry slash sell XRP after mass ETF approvals? Yeah, of course. Um, they will always have access to XRP. It's just, I think with ETF approvals, so first of all, ETFs, depending what types of ETFs they are, right? They could be cover called ETFs. They could be ETFs that track, XRP directly, um, or or others, right? So ETFs tend to be long-term investments for a lot of people and a lot of businesses, institutions. Um, However, the ones that track just a single position, we don't generally have the the long-standing growth that we want to see because it's just tracking it. It's like you buying XRP, but instead you have a middleman, right? You're now investing into this ETF that is invested into XRP. So it's mainly tracking what that's doing for the most part. It could cover call ones might be different. You might have more aggressive behavior within there. Um, where you have a little bit further movement that's not necessarily tracking it directly. But then when you have something that's, let's say, all encompassing, and I've mentioned this multiple times, I know some people are probably like, I don't care about you saying this. Top crypto ETF. Those are the ones that really stabilize the market. The reason why Bitcoin worked so well with the ETF from the beginning is because people have a hold mentality of Bitcoin more than any other position that's out there, right? The thought process of the fear of missing out from holding Bitcoin is strong, and that's why when the ETFs became live, one, it's because these are the first crypto ETFs that you have. Two, it's because Bitcoin has that long-standing, long-term holdability to it, where it's like the fear of missing out of holding the position. Um, and three, I mean, it's Bitcoin, right? Um, that's the way that people look at that project. They look at the largest project in the crypto space as something that you need to hold because even though the value says $100,000, it could be valued at $1 million very very soon. Um, and that's very true. We could see that valued at 200,000, 300,000, $1 million. Um, but that could be over time and it could be over multiple bull runs, however strong those bull runs are. Honestly, I think if we are going to see these larger or bigger picture, not bigger picture items, but larger prices for Bitcoin, it probably should happen within the next one or two bull runs because I would imagine that with all of the ETFs and then the broader market ETFs that are going to come out, those are going to stabilize the market, which creates less of those swings that we've seen. Um, so I would imagine it's going to happen in either this bull run or next bull run. And then after that, I think there's going to be a lot of stabilization of the market, which may suck. And it might be at the, multiple tens of trillions of dollars worth of a market cap. Algo is still pretty low. I was sad that it didn't run like XRP. Algo will have its moves. I don't know if it'll run like XRP because XRP will be like no other. But I think Algo will still have its day. I have a decent amount of Algo, whether it's in my BTCC account or I believe I have it over on Kraken as well, or maybe that's something else. Maybe mistaken. Um, 6 months ago was last bull run. No, what? The bull run started the end of 2022. Yeah. End of 2022 is when the bull run officially started, and that's when Bitcoin started to run. It's funny to see negative comments for utility coins like Jasmy. Newbies always are sensitive. Just search Jasmy and Junction link together, their partnership. No one can imagine what is coming. I think it's always interesting to see people that are so negative on things. I mean, it's the internet. You have to understand that people are going to be negative about something. You could say the most positive thing in the world. You could say that uh, babies are adorable, and somebody will come up and be like, "You're the worst person in the world that you're thinking about babies." It's like, what? That's what you take from that, but that's just how the internet works, right? So if you invest into a cryptocurrency and you believe in that cryptocurrency, you have any type of investment, even ones that have historically proven, all the doubters wrong. Right? You can say I'm investing into the S&P 500. Someone would be like, "That's the dumbest idea, and you should never talk about what you're investing into in your life because now people are going to invest into the S&P 500. They're going to lose all their money." That's not the case, right? The S&P 500 historically is tracked, to where it has gained you a lot over time, and every single year you're gaining an average of what, uh, at least 10 or at least 5%, if not more than that. Um, so people are just inherently negative about stuff just because they feel like maybe they missed out. There's always a reason behind it, and I don't hold them to it. When people say, "Hey Matt, you're dumb," I'm like, "All right, well, that's your opinion, and if somebody else has the same opinion, then great. I don't care. I'm I'm gonna think the way that I think, and I'm gonna do the things that I want to do, right?" Um, some people will tell me, and sometimes they feel a certain way about even the job that I do, where it's like I come on here, I talk about my investments, and I make money from investments, or I talk about, I have YouTube videos out there, and people will say, one of the last comments I got was like, um, you need to stop talking because all you do is make money from YouTube. None of your money comes from investments. When primarily, right now, all of my money is coming from investments. The last 3 months, with especially with how little I've been uploading and all that stuff, especially over the summertime, the last 3 months, or 4 months on YouTube for YouTube revenue, I've made a total of $2,000 a month from YouTube. When before that, well before that, it was primarily YouTube that was pumping a lot of that stuff, and now I'm making most, if not all, my money from investments and investment like activities, right? So, um, people don't know what they're talking about. They think they know what they're talking about. But yeah, that's one thing that I tell people when they're like, "Hey, should I be a YouTuber?" I'm like, "Can you deal with negative comments?" And they're like, "Yeah, I can deal with negative comments." What if somebody says that you're the worst person on this earth and that you need to off yourself right now, right? Like, what if someone says that to you? Because people do say that, and they're like, "Well, like, would I really like get something like that? I feel like I wouldn't deserve that." It doesn't matter if you deserve it or not. People are going to say it, and you have to have thick skin. You have to make sure that you don't care about what they're saying, because if you care even a little bit, deep down in your soul, it will destroy you. It will. I've seen people that look like they have strong will just say, "Look, I'm done with this." I've even had issues at times, even though I have very, very strong will. It made me stronger, I think. But yeah, it's funny. Um, I'm talking about the bull runs after Bitcoin halvings. So you're talking about that doesn't wait, sorry, that doesn't make sense. Oh wait, 4 years ago was the last bull run. It was, yes, 2021. Well, 2020 to 2021. I believe it was the end of that. the end of 2020, if I'm not mistaken, into 2021. And then at the end of, it was like May or something where everything collapsed down. I think that was cut short because of the things that happened with Terra Luna Classic, or Terra Luna at the time, as well as FTX and exchanges that were, kind of learning a lesson. I think with everything, you learn a lesson, and we all learned a lesson, that year about investing with a platform, not seeing the true colors of that platform. I think we've definitely learned a lesson in where we invest our money with and who we trust with our money and what we need to look for to kind of establish that trust and all of that. So yes and no. I think it was definitely cut short, but yeah, the algo is still. I said that. Blah, blah, blah. No, I've been holding that trash bag a long time and watch coins like ZBCN just blow it out of the water in a short amount of time. Jasmine? What about Jasmine? Good morning from India. I'm holding the. Let's see. What is this your argument? Do you expect everything to pump together? Then yes, you're still a newbie. Bear in mind, I wrote Bitcoin off at $6. I gave them a few years. Um, Markets are a fickle thing. Yeah, I'm thinking when the new financial system goes live, it'll go pretty fast. They've been testing the ledger for years, so I'm thinking it will be something they go live on over a weekend. It shouldn't matter if you make money from YouTube. They could too if they wanted. That's very true. I mean, it's effort that you're putting in, right? There's some people um, that will tell me, and again, sometimes they don't mean it, but they do mean it at the same time, where they're like, oh, I have to get up and go to work, and I'm like, okay, do I not get up and go to work? Do I not wake up earlier than you do in order to get things done before the kids even go to school? Then yes, I take them to school, but I still have to come back and do research on different things when it comes to cryptocurrencies. It comes to ETFs. It comes to things that I'm investing into and the different acts that I'm making. So while it may not seem like work to you, if you were doing it, it would definitely seem like work, because your work and my work are two different things, to where I'm working for myself, you're working for somebody else. you know, you're working for somebody else to potentially get a 2% raise, 5% raise, whatever, and you might not even get that. And then to try and get a promotion to where you may go up in the company, but only get like 15% worth of that salary while still doing your previous tasks. Like you're like in those jobs, you're getting taken advantage of. I know that because I was working a 9 to 5 and saw it every single day. Every year, I would have a performance appraisal. Right, this appraisal meeting was based on what my goals were and if I executed those goals, if I actually finalized or completed those goals. The issue dealing with that, you have people that are over you that continue to have turnover, right? A CFO, right? The highest level that you have in the company that continues to have turnover. They have different expectations every time they come in. So when you have your goals and you're focusing on those goals, getting those done, knowing that it's going to take you a half a year or a year to actually get done, um, you focus on that. They don't want you to focus on that. Now you can't do that. You can't complete your goals, and it looks like you didn't complete your goals. So every year, I was getting either the minimum raise or no raise, and being put on um, like more of a probationary period because of the ability to or the inability to complete goals, right? And that's the issue that you deal with. Hey, I need to complete these dashboards, but I can't do these dashboards if the CFO tells me to focus on something completely different for 3 months. Oh, we're not going to use those dashboards? Okay, so now I don't even need to do them. But the expectation is still to complete them. So the point is that you're working as hard as possible to make somebody else more money, make it more efficient for them, to completely change processes and give them more profit in the end, but you don't see any of that profit. However, if you work for yourself on YouTube or a different business or side hustle or whatever, you dictate how much money you make. You dictate how hard you want to work. How much money you make depends on the output that you have here, the effort that you put in. Let's say if you're a landscaper, if you have time, why are you not going to different houses and going, hey, I feel like I can cut your grass better. I feel like I have better prices and I could do it more efficiently, right? And why haven't you gone to them and been like, look, give me a trial run. I will cut your grass. If you like the way that I cut your grass, then we can work through a partnership here or work through something to get this, running here. So something that can further your business, something that can give you more money in the end, you can focus on here. But for, you working a 9 to 5, you're not making any more money, depending on, even if you put in all of the effort, you're not making any more money. You might get a promotion so that you can tell people what your job title is. Hey, my job title is now senior something, senior anything. There's just, you don't know how many job titles I've had that have changed from being an accountant to senior accountant, financial analyst to senior financial analyst. And it's like, yeah, you're a senior financial analyst and maybe you might have one person that you're overseeing potentially, but you still have all the tasks that you had before. Anyways, the point is that, you got to understand your value. And if you value your time at a certain dollar figure, or you value your time at a certain level, you should have that same expectation as you're at work, as well as when you're at home. I was working a 9 to 5 and I was live streaming for 3 hours and I was producing videos. I was doing as much as I could in order to get YouTube off the ground and running so that it can sustain our lives. And it's been the best decision that I've ever made to leave that 9 to 5 and focus on myself and focus on my investments and focus on business in general. Yes, it's been a little bit of the last 3 months or maybe even 4 months, I haven't been on as much as I should be, and I really want to. But I value the time that I spend with my kids and my family over, working. Obviously, I want to be able to make money to sustain the ability to stay home with my children and all those things, take them to school, pick them up from school, basketball practice, all that stuff. But I still work hard on the investment side of it, and I can do that while I'm still with them in front of them. I can't do this while they're here and I'm paying attention to them. But it's been the best decision of my life, honestly. All right, guys, I think we have to pretty much get out of here. I don't think I've talked about XRP being worth trillions one time today. Let's go into Google. Let's just search things here and just see if we can come up with like a summary so that we feel like it's not completely worthless in what we talked about. key challenges to, let's see. Let me type this in. So well, XRP. Wait, XRP will be worth trillions. Type that in AI. Okay. So speculation XRP's market cap could reach trillions of dollars is highly ambitious. It faces numerous economic and practical challenges. For this to happen, XRP would need an unprecedented level of adoption and overcome several significant hurdles. Key challenges to $1 trillion XRP valuation. Market capitalization with the supply of 100 billion XRP tokens, a significant portion already in circulation. The price of $1,000 per token will result in a market cap of nearly $100 trillion. Put in this perspective, Bitcoin has yet to break a $2 trillion market cap, and GDP is less than 30 trillion. So I don't know if they're confusing a $1 trillion market cap with $100 trillion, but 1% of that is $1 trillion, meaning that you're looking at about $10 per coin in order to get to a $1 trillion market cap. Sorry. Fundamental value versus speculation. Unlike traditional assets such as stocks and bonds, cryptocurrencies like XRP have no fundamental value based on earnings or cash flow, which is not a business, so it's not going to. Price is driving, Ripple is, but XRP is not. Price driven largely by speculation, making extreme valuations based on hypothetical adoption difficult to justify. Competition and alternative technologies. XRP aims to disrupt financial services and cross-border payments, but it faces stiff competition from other technologies. If Ripple fails to expand its partnerships with financial institutions, or if newer, more efficient solutions like stablecoins gain traction, XRP's use case and price growth could be limited. Regulatory uncertainty, which I feel like there's no regulatory uncertainty because we've already seen the certainty of that regulation and where it stands. Bullish argument for XRP, despite the challenges, some of the optimistic scenarios are driven by the potential for mass adoption and new market opportunities, targeting mass markets. Some analysts suggest that XRP could achieve very high valuations by capturing an even a small fraction of the $1 trillion global cross-border payments and remittance markets, exploiting the tokenization trend. The World Economic Forum estimates that the tokenization of real-world assets could be in the $867 trillion market. It could be in an $867 trillion market. Optimists believe that XRP ledger could play a central role in this process, potentially driving significant value to XRP holders. Institutional adoption. If more financial institutions adopt Ripple products, demand for XRP would increase. Spot XRP exchange traded funds and regulatory clarity could also spur further institutional interest. So I feel like there's a lot more to be taken there, but I think that does really tell you the bullish sides of whether it can get to $1 trillion level. But I feel like again they broke it down as, oh, can it get to $100 trillion? A $10 price point or $1 trillion market cap for something that has more use case than anything else in the crypto market. We're talking about more than Bitcoin, more than Ethereum, more than any other project that's out there, and more partnerships than any other project that's out there. More conversation, whether it's related around use case or related around, the regulatory clarity. And being the only cryptocurrency that actually has regulatory clarity is insane to say that it can't be worth $1 trillion or multiple $1 trillion market cap. And Bitcoin has yet to break 2 trillion. It is over 2 trillion right now, right? It's at 2.3 or something. Let's refresh. Yeah, $2.3 trillion. So that's old news. Anyways, the first XRP and Doge ETFs are going to launch at some point, sometime soon, and we're going to see some major movement for XRP. We're going to see some major movement for Dogecoin. We're going to see some major milestones being hit as we see newer and newer ETFs that are being launched, all-encompassing ETFs, top market, broader market ETFs, all of that stuff. But I got to get out of here, guys. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell for more of these videos. I appreciate everybody that's commenting, everybody that's been here, everybody that has, been here in the past. Anybody that has come back or anybody that's new, hit that subscribe button again. One more time for the people that are here. If you guys want to join BTCC, feel free to do so. The link is in the chat. You can get a 10% deposit bonus, extra bonuses up to $10,055, 40% lower trading fees, trade all the way up to a 500x leverage. And the most important piece, sign up, deposit, and trade. It can be any amount, right? Sign up, deposit $25, trade a cryptocurrency on leverage or whatever. You can be entered to win 500 USDT. 3 winners, 500 USDT. Make sure you put your name in the hat because it ends today. So hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, check out that link, and I'll catch you guys.